It's been about a month since I last made a video on this channel, and I've been getting a ton of requests to bring content back on this channel, but the purpose of this channel is for me to make content that doesn't fit within the confines of my other two channels. Whenever I feel like there's a crazy world event that has just occurred, or a piece of information that I know my subscribers would be interested in, so I could cover that. And well, it wasn't until this morning that I realized that this is a huge topic that I have yet to cover that I feel like most of my YouTube subscribers would like to hear about. So of course, I also wanted to let you guys know that I'm giving away a pair of Apple AirPod Maxes in space gray. All you have to do is subscribe and turn on my notifications to enter, and leave a like to help this channel grow. If you want additional entries, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And now that we got all of that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, we are in the midst of seeing something absolutely remarkable that I don't think I've seen done for about 3 to 4 years, although it was done in a quite different way. Now, in order for you to understand this entire situation with GameStop, AMC, and even BlackBerry, Nokia, and eventually Dogecoin, which I'll explain how that transition came to be because I found that part to be extremely random. You need to understand that the inception of this brilliant idea comes from a subreddit called Wallstreetbets. Wallstreetbets is essentially a hub for the world's most powerful and brilliant investors to come together in order to get rich quick. Jokes aside, it's a community for a large quantity of people that are more interested in finance and investments. However, they don't necessarily promote smart investing. And as a matter of fact, Wallstreetbets kind of takes pride in that. They call themselves autists or degenerates, which is pretty much a parody at the fact that they're horrible at making stock trades. Unless if you're an individual that references themselves as a Chad, which is a person that buys at the dip and then trades at the peak, or you're the inverse, which is the bag holder, which is someone that bought in right at the peak of the hype and then sold once the stock went all the way down. Now, let me tell you how this all started, because I'm sure at this point, this entire topic is completely flooding your timeline, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Tinder. Okay, maybe not the last one. We're going to explain why this is such a game-changing moment in finance and investing history, and we're also going to give you some things to be cautious about because I feel like most other influencers aren't doing their diligence when it comes to this topic, and I just like to make sure that you guys are prepared and protected. So in order to understand this worldwide phenomenon, you have to understand what the stock market is. Essentially, what the stock market is a wonderful place where shares of a company could be bought. This is typically a company that wants to sell a portion of its equity to the public for a specific fee. Now, naturally, there's only so many shares of a company that can go around, and this varies based off of the company. As a result, the better the company's typically doing, the more profitable they are, or the more speculation there is for this company to be successful, typically the better the stock does and the more valuable the stock is, because the less supply there is of the stock, the more valuable the stock is, and the more the price of the stock goes up. But at the same time, you could also short sell a stock. And this is where things get a little bit complicated, so do your best to pay attention here. A short is when you borrow a stock from a broker and then sell it immediately at its current price. You're doing this because you believe that the stock is going to fail at some point, or the price of the stock is going to go down. As a result, you're hoping that the stock price falls so that you can buy the stock back at a lower price and return the shares you borrowed to your broker, but keep the difference. So let's say what the hedge funds are doing currently to GameStop. GameStop is considered to be the blockbuster of our time, mainly because I have a PlayStation 5 and most games you could literally download on the PS5, which sounds significantly more convenient than waiting in a long line at GameStop at midnight in the freezing cold to get your hands on the latest Call of Duty. So let's make this a little simple. Say in November I wanted to short GameStop. Well, back then GameStop's stock price was at a price of $10, and just for the sake of simplicity, I borrow one share and then sell it immediately at $10. I have $10 now, but I owe the broker the one share that I borrowed. Then let's say that the price of GameStop happens to drop to $7. I now decide to buy back my short position and buy one share of GameStop at $7 and then return the one borrowed share back to my broker. As a result, I made $10 when I sold and only had to pay $7 to buy it back lower, so my profit is the $3 difference. But let's say instead of GameStop going down like it's supposed to, it goes up to say like $15 a week or two later. I still need to return that one borrowed share back to my broker, except now it's going to cost a lot more to buy it back. And if I buy it back at say $15 so I can return the borrowed shares, my losses will be the $5 difference between selling at $10 and rebuying at $15, since the price can rise indefinitely. And my potential losses as a short seller is unlimited. At some point, I have to buy it back to return the shares I borrowed. The more the price rises, the bigger my losses will be. And that's how we get to the current situation with GameStop and to a lesser extent, even AMC. A few weeks ago, a Redditor on Wallstreetbets noticed that a hedge fund had taken a massive amount of short trades against GameStop. They convinced everyone on Wallstreetbets to join forces and buy as many GameStop stocks as possible. This made the price rise and the hedge fund's short position started to lose billions of dollars. Their loss even surpassed the $13.1 billion that the hedge fund was worth. Eventually, the hedge fund had to close their short positions and buy all the GameStop stock back at much, much higher prices, sending the price even higher. This is called a short squeeze because you're essentially forcing the shorters to pay back the options. Now that the hedge fund has declared bankruptcy, you're seeing other companies that have similar situations coming out of the abyss. For example, what do AMC, Nokia, BlackBerry, and GameStop all have in common? Well, if things were supposed to ride out naturally, for the most part, unless if there was some crazy breakthrough that each company made, they're supposed to be going out of business within the next decade, and that's not a crazy thing to hypothesize. This got a lot of mainstream hype when individuals like Elon Musk started tweeting out the Wallstreetbets Reddit, which subsequently gained it at least 5 million new users on the subreddit, and things got so insane that the stock market in general saw a huge sell-off over the past 48 hours as a result of the GameStop frenzy. Now, as this became more and more viral, you saw more influencers reaching out to Twitter, trying to tell their users and their followers to do their best to buy as many of these stocks as possible so they could pump up the price as much as they could so they could all make money. But historically, this doesn't tend to end very well, and we saw the very first glimpse of it yesterday when Robinhood decided to step in and limit a user's ability to buy AMC and GameStop stocks, which is unprecedented. We've never seen this in the history of Wall Street. We've never seen a company's price be driven up so much that a platform had to step in and say, hey, no more buying this. You're not allowed to buy this anymore. And rightfully so, this ticked off a lot of people. It seemed like Robinhood was doing whatever it took to really help the hedge funds as much as they possibly can. This eventually was also perceived as class warfare, because the people that were making money were retail investors and the people that were losing money were billion-dollar hedge funds that ironically made most of their money by doing this exact same thing to companies that were about to fail. Hedge funds typically squeeze failing companies into debt in order to use that debt that they have to force them to go out of business. They do this because they have millions of dollars piled up because most hedge funds are in control of paying out pensions. After Robinhood decided to restrict some trading, not only did they get a ton of one-star reviews on their app that night, but in addition, we saw this really strange transition from buying GameStop and AMC stocks to trying to buy Dogecoin, which is a cryptocurrency. For those of you guys that don't know what Dogecoin is, it was literally a parody cryptocurrency that was made just to make fun of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, and other big name cryptocurrencies. And next thing you know, things went from buy as much AMC and GameStop stock that you can to buy as much Dogecoin that you possibly could. So let me say something to you guys that I feel like nobody is telling you guys except for FaZe Banks here. If you do decide to participate in this situation, as crazy as it is, you need to understand very important points. One, this is legitimately a pump and dump scheme. This is literally what a pump and dump is. It's when you entice a bunch of individuals to buy up something as much as you can. Eventually, there's going to be a massive sell-off, and if you don't get out at the right time, you could lose thousands of dollars. You can tell this is a gigantic pump and dump scheme because as soon as AMC and Nokia and GME and Naked were taken out of Robinhood, there was this huge transition to a cryptocurrency to pump that up instead. You could say initially this was incepted to make a point, but I'm convinced that this was incepted to make money. Which brings me to my next point. Only invest what you are willing to lose. Please don't go out and take a second mortgage of your house so you could buy a stock that would not have any value whatsoever if it wasn't being manipulated by a gigantic subreddit. And finally, I think it's important to understand that the way you accumulate wealth is never a one-time investment that you hit on the bullseye. It's typically a accumulation of good investments while living below your means over a large number of time, and reinvesting the money you save by living below your means, either in real estate, the stock market, or cryptocurrency. Ideally, all three, because having a balanced portfolio is the best way to accumulate wealth. As much as I love the point that we are making towards GME, Nokia, and AMC, just please be cautious and be careful and understand what it is. Because typically whenever buying a specific stock or cryptocurrency goes viral, literally a week later you could expect it to come crashing all the way to the floor. At least that's what I experienced with Bitcoin in 2017, and that's what some of us experienced with the .com bubble in the early 2000s. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this entire scenario. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.